Kingdom Hearts 4 back to back with Ocarina of Time remake. That's the kind of business Nintendo was on of dropping mics this past week at the Direct. I don't think anybody saw the first footage of Kingdom Hearts 4 being at a Nintendo Direct. I didn't. I would have expected it probably just like just about everybody else to premiere at either the State of Play that happened recently or the Summer Game Fest showcase during this pseudo E3 period. But somehow Nintendo got that call from Mickey, or Mickey got that call from Mario, something like that. So, this latest direct, much like the Xbox showcase and the Sony State of Play that happened last week or over the past week and some change. While everything that was shown isn't in it wasn't 100% for me, or probably based on what I've seen over the internet, a amount of people, it still had a lot. A lot of the issues that some people have with it come from the fact that it featured primarily third party games, and to the point some might even say it felt more like a third party showcase or a partner direct rather than a general direct. But that's just because you have to realize that third parties, like I've been saying in previous videos, just in general, third parties are showing up. They're here. So you're going to see a lot more third party content in Nintendo Directs. And it's good that more day and date stuff on top of what was already announced, like Final Fantasy VII Revelation and Resident Evil Veronica, we are getting stuff like Onimusha, Way of the Sword. We're getting Kingdom Hearts 4, as I said, which I might actually double dip on that. I might double dip on that as well as Final Fantasy Revelation, getting it on PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. PlayStation 5 to for an initial playthrough, and then Switch 2 to support the developers like Capcom supporting Switch 2 with quality titles. Or just if I feel like running it back, doing a run back on the Switch 2 system versus doing it again on PS5 once I've already gotten all the trophies and everything and I have no reason to do it on PS5 again. But on top of that, Lords of the Fallen 2, Rayman Legends Retold further confirmed. So it really feels like it's a new day is dawning for Nintendo audiences. We are not just, I don't want to say stuck with Nintendo first party if Nintendo first party games are like a terrible thing, but we have more on the horizon than we've ever had since maybe the Super Nintendo, as far as getting everything and getting everything at not a shoddy, blurry, muddy 2 frames per second quality. Most of the cases seems like 60 or at the lowest 30, stable 30 to 40 frames, 1080p, 4K, most of these ports, and day one. So it's good to see. That actually made the direct stronger instead of weaker, in my opinion, because it further bolsters the Switch 2's library, which is important. You want the Switch 2 to have a strong library. You don't want to have a Wii U library, or even though the Wii U games weren't bad, it's just that 10 people bought the system. Or you don't want it to have a Sega Saturn library or anything like that, or a Virtual Boy library. You want a robust library, and it seems like that's what we're finally getting. But that's not to say that there was not some huge first party reveals and information there. Like one of my favorite Nintendo series, one of my favorite RPG series, JRPG series, got some love. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 through 3, they are all getting Switch 2 editions, getting re-released with new content, upgraded performance. And I may have actually lost my copy of the original Xenoblade, so this might be perfect for me to just pick up the Switch 2 edition if I can't find it. I'm not sure if I'll replay through all three games because those games are really long, and I don't know if I can go through the emotional damage again that 3 put me through towards the end. But if anything, I may replay 3. And through may if anything, I may replay 3 or or 2. Probably not 1, but it's nice. It's nice that they're there, and the upgrades. I think I saw in the eShop they're like $10 upgrades or something like that. So it's not even that much more expensive for the new content. But on top of that, they followed up the announcement of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 through 3 with a brand new entry in the Xenoblade franchise. This one not having the subtitle Chronicles. This one being Xenoblade Genesis, like a new beginning. And it retains that anime cel shaded visual style that the previous three games have, but it's stronger this time, it seems. Probably due to the stronger hardware that's on. And there's something going on in the world where it looks like you can see the sea and mountains and cities in the sky when you're in the ground. So it's kind of like instead of being on the outside of a globe, it's kind of like imagine being inside of the globe, like a hollow earth type of thing, or like a halo type of thing, where the world, instead of flat and looking straight forward, the world curls and wraps like it's spherical around you. So it's a very unique visual striking style. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a video game before. At least I can't recall anything like that before. So that made me really hyped. That's 2027. And they also gave us a release date for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. And it's another September game, which September between every console is stacked. Everybody is afraid of GTA. Capcom is afraid of them. Bethesda is afraid of them. It seems to be four separate storylines featuring four separate playable characters. And I will add, this is neat. I didn't notice this before, but three out of four of them are people or characters of color, which is actually really neat and really rare to see for a main ensemble, especially from Nintendo, which they got the brothers and the sisters. Good job, Nintendo. You did it. But it came out that this game is going to be the second $80 game. Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave is going to be the second $80 physical Nintendo game. It's going to be 70 on the eShop or digital, but they're rolling the dice with Fire Emblem. But the only reason why I don't think this will be as bad as Mario Kart World is three houses. Each of those three storylines was long. It was a lot of content. It was around the same length you would expect in a SMT or Persona game or Metaphor, which is also another game coming to Switch too. But so if you take that and you add a fourth story, I don't even want to imagine how many hours that would be altogether. That's like 5 billion hours of content probably. So to me, that justifies 80. If you have a lot of content, then fair enough. And the game looks like it runs well. It looks really good. So I think they're earning that $80 this time. I still don't like it. I would prefer that it would be 70 physical, but they also confirmed um a release date for Orbitals, which is third party, but it's a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, which is like that 80s retro looking anime game that kind of plays like It Takes Two or Split Fiction, that online co-op game share the game with someone who doesn't have it type of platformer RPG experience, action experience. So looking forward to that. They announced, and this is something I'm not looking forward to, but they announced Nintendo Switch Sports Resort. So basically, another continuation in the whole Wii Sports waggle play tennis with motion controls games that Nintendo first released on Nintendo Wii. I mean, perfect for your grandmas and your babies and stuff like that, little kids, or I guess adults who just like to maybe say a drunk game night. Nintendo got you on your drunk game night games. You got you. I don't need it, but I recognize that like they've always sold really well. Those games have always sold better than most games. Most of the most hardcore games that you could never think of. Switch Sports outsells them easily, or Nintendo Sports games, whatever, outsells them easily. So I expect this will probably do the same. And they showed off a new thumb wrestling game, which I didn't know was an actual sport. Like, since when was thumb wrestling a sport? But they showed that off. They showed that off for too long. If the direct had any real low point, like genuine low point, I wouldn't be able to argue against the fact that is one, and there's memes already out there of questionable looking faces and motions from Koizumi, who's displaying the game. I don't think anyone really looked at that video before they approved it, or someone did and they have an axe to grind and use it as vengeance. I don't know, but so there's that. The biggest thing from Nintendo at the end was, as I said, Ocarina of Time being fully remade for Nintendo Switch 2. Full disclosure, I never actually played Ocarina of Time. I played Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Wind Waker, A Link to the Past, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Link's Awakening. And I have Echoes of Wisdom. I just haven't started it yet. But I'm looking forward to playing the highest rated game, probably one of the most beloved games of all time, and playing it with updated visuals and updated modern game design, because the original probably didn't age the best in terms of like controls and stuff like that, just because mechanically speaking, movement wasn't as precise or accurate, or it was a lot more janky back then. We loved it, and we didn't see it as janky as it was because that's all we had. But compared to now, if you play most of the time, if you play an older 3D platformer, an older action game, what have you, it's going to be really hard not to notice what we were really playing back then, as fun as it was. So, the only thing that I really hope that they don't do with this is I hope this remake is more of, it's closer to the way Capcom did Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil 2 remake versus the way Square Enix did Final Fantasy 7 remake trilogy, which isn't really a remake. It's okay if they reimagine some things, or say they take some of the dungeons like the Border Temple and expand on the puzzles within it, or maybe change the room around a little bit, maybe place the enemy here or there, or Hyrule Field expanded so it's wider and bigger and there's more to do in it. Or if there was something that was kind of a mystery in the original game and it wasn't really clear lore wise, maybe clear that up. But don't overall change the story. Don't change the tone. Don't change what made Ocarina of Time. But that's crazy. And I have a feeling that they're going to launch it, because there's no release date yet. But I have a feeling if there's any game that can compete with GTA 6, yeah, it'd be 6, then it's going to be Ocarina of Time. I've watched this announcement make grown men and women cry from nostalgia. I don't think GTA ever did that. It never made a man cry. Just off of just seeing it. Just be holding the beauty of it. So Rockstar, he might have some competition this November. You might just have some competition. Anyways, that's it for now. I have a few poems up on my TikTok, and I'm working on more. So go to my TikTok. I'll have it in the description. Check out the poems that I have on there now. And like, subscribe, share. Have a good one.